What's up, Geodays? So I'm starting on the rear brake or the front brakes on the 90 Metro. So the hubs have to come off, and these ones are pretty rusted on. Let me show you. So all that's pretty rusty in there, and I really need to change the brakes out. Eventually, I'll wind up doing the calipers. But for now, just pads and rotors, since this thing's been sitting so long, it's so rusted. So far, the tools that I used was I used a 13/16 socket to take the lug nuts off, because I have different lug nuts. Otherwise, if I had the stock lug nuts, I'd be using something a little smaller. I used a 14 mil, okay, to take off the bolts for the hub that line up. Here, let me see if I can line this one up so that way I can show you. So right here you have four holes. These bolts go right in here to lock into the brakes. 14 millimeters pulls them right out. I did break them loose, and then I used my impact driver to get them the rest of the way out. Now, one of the biggest problems I'm running into as well is I did not take off the axle nuts before I jacked up the car. So I probably should have broken those loose first. I did get the driver's side off, but the passenger side is pretty rusted on there. So what I'm doing is I've got a PB blasted. I'm gonna get a screwdriver in here, and I'm gonna pop that dent out. I'm actually not gonna use this one again. This axle nut, I'm going to use a axle nut that I got off of a car, a 91 at the junkyard, that's in much better condition. As you can see, it's not rusted through. And then I'll torque it down, put a dent in it, and so that way I do have a new washer for it as well. Yeah, so we'll be using that one. I don't have the actual socket for these. I'm not 100% certain on the size, because this is this is the driver's side, which actually doesn't look too bad. Everything I take off, I'll hit with a wire brush on my drill to get all this rust off. Now, you might have noticed that my hubs are pretty wet. As you can see, they what I did was I got some PB blaster, and I blasted inside there, all inside, and then all the way around. So hopefully tomorrow, I'll let it sit overnight. Hopefully tomorrow I can pull them out. If not, I'm gonna have to pull the whole knuckle off and bang out the hubs from the inside, so that way I can change the rotors, because the rotors are a little warped. Don't know if you could tell that, but they are a little warped. So just need to get them off. In order to pull the knuckle off, I've got to pull the tie rod end off. I've got to pull the bolts off, and I have to do the lower ball joint, pull that off. So what I'll wind up doing is, once I get it off, I'll probably wind up taking some all-purpose grease that I have, some high-temp all-purpose grease from Mobil 1, and coating the outside and inside of the knuckle, so that way I can slide that back in, maybe repack the bearings. So we'll see what happens there tomorrow. Tomorrow might be a long day. Brakes, I thought were going to be kind of easy, but like I said, once I get it out, if it's rusted out, which I think it is, because don't know if you can see, but all this stuff on the ground came out from the inside, and that's not good. So we'll definitely be looking at it. What I'll probably wind up doing too, if I have time, is changing out the CV shaft, because my boot's ripped. So probably wind up doing that as well, if I can get one in time. I need this car for next week, because it's got to run for next week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up all my nuts and bolts and take them inside. I'm gonna set them on, I've got my tires inside already with the lug nuts, and I have them stacked to where passenger side's on the bottom, driver side's on top, and that way my tires don't get flip-flopped just yet, because honestly I have less than 500 miles on them. I just hit 3,000 miles on it. I bought the car with 2416 on it. Assuming that's 100, maybe 200,000, but no way to know for sure because the previous owner said it already flipped when he bought it. Tomorrow, if I can get this axle nut off, I'll probably put the tire back on, drop it down, and then get it from there if I can. I did bring out my cheater bar. I have this big long pipe that I've been using, and what I did was when I loosened up the bolts, I did take this breaker bar and I put it right inside here, whichever one of the ways right here, and I broke 3 loose, rotated it, and did the same thing. It's pretty good to save your threads. I probably should have thrown the lug nuts back on it first, but I didn't. I will do that on the next one, next time I do it. But all this stuff definitely needs to get cleaned up bad, and once it does, she'll be top notch. Maybe I'll wind up replacing the hub sometime soon. Rear brakes are going to be after that. I can only imagine what those are going to look like. But the e-brake works, brakes work, tires are chalked, so it's not going anywhere tonight. And I'll just have to take the truck tomorrow to go run around and do whatever I need to do, along with fix this stuff. So I'm going to grab my hose, turn it on, spray off some of this PB Blaster and all this other crap so it doesn't run over my, doesn't ruin my driveway. I do have a small oil leak, so I'm gonna grab some cardboard, throw it underneath there for the oil leak and everything like that. So with that, hopefully tomorrow I don't take the knuckles off, but worst case scenario, I'll take the knuckles off and I will definitely try and hit them out from the back. I'll show you, I'll try and videotape some of that stuff on how I do it. So that way, because I haven't been able to find any videos on the 90s. I found the axle bearing on a 93, which that's what I had to use to look up what to do to take off the brakes. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But other than that, I think I'm just stuck for the day or for the night. It's getting pretty late. It's almost 9 o'clock. Pretty light outside still. So yeah, absolutely too much fun. Love these little cars so far.